Hey, this is Matt McGloin at Cosmic Book News. Tonight we're going to dive into the recent Star Wars news regarding Kathleen Kennedy getting her contract extended. This past Friday, saw the Hollywood Reporter report that Kathleen Kennedy will be back for at least 3 more years through 2021. It's further said that Disney and Lucasfilm are going to focus more on the TV side of things with the Disney Play streaming app coming out next year and the Star Wars TV series, live action TV series in development, plus the new animated shows. So Disney is planning on doing more Star Wars TV shows than they are movies because Disney CEO Bob Iger recently stated that basically they're putting the Star Wars stuff on hold. So presently, only Star Wars Episode 9 is in active development. With Iger mentioning that the Game of Thrones creators project is still in development apparently too. But interestingly enough, he did not mention Rian Johnson. As to be expected, fans are going pretty ballistic online. Our forum or our Facebook group, private Facebook group, I'll include a link below if you want to join. We got a bunch of comments with people going crazy. Of course, I kind of added fuel to the fire when I posted it and said we're effed for another 3 years, guys, which I believe is the case because I don't think Kathleen Kennedy has done the franchise or its fans any justice, and I believe she had an agenda and went out to do that too. She didn't want to please the Star Wars fans. She said that herself. So this is what happens when you do that. But you can see some of the comments here. We get some memes. Rian Johnson, blah, blah, blah. My main man, Alessio Pasquale, he's a big Disney guy. I think he was on the set of Guardians of the Galaxy too, so maybe he knows some guys who work at Disney, but he's always defending Disney and Star Wars. But some of the other guys, here's some of the other comments. Yeah, here's another guy. This guy, Joseph Dobie. Oh, this is a stupid title. I'm done with your site. Too bad, Joseph. Go cry, buddy. Yep, rip Star Wars. That's what I tweeted. I agree with Larry Wood here. When it comes down to it, there's no more Star Wars movies being made for the next 3 years, besides Episode 9, which is already happening, which was already announced. This is Star Wars we're talking about. No new movies are being made. All the Disney shills out there, all the Star Wars shills out there, do you realize that? No new movies are being made. That says everything. Right there. Kathleen Kennedy, no new movies are being made. Disney CEO Bob Iger, this is what he said. You can expect some slowdown. Disney's reason, get this, is that they released too many movies too quickly. Which the argument obviously doesn't hold up because the same doesn't apply to Marvel. Now, could you imagine if Marvel Studios came out and said they're not making any more movies for the next 3 years? It's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. Well, so let's take a look at the Star Wars movies under Kathleen Kennedy. First up, we got The Force Awakens. We'll head over to Box Office Mojo to take a look at the box office reports. Of course, Star Wars: The Force Awakens, which was the first movie, under Disney by J.J. Abrams, was huge at the box office. Huge. Of course, it's going to be huge because everyone expected it. This is probably the most highly anticipated movie of all time, was Star Wars: The Force Awakens, which was more of what many thought would be a direct sequel to Return of the Jedi. Big things were expected. Big things. Did it come through? I mean, it was a little too much like the original trilogy, like Star Wars A New Hope for me, for my taste. But at least Abrams, he left it where it can continue, where it could be something the fans always wanted or hoped for. But what did we get? We got Rian Johnson's Star Wars: The Last Jedi, who basically, and I said it, I've written articles about it. He crapped on Star Wars. He crapped on the Star Wars fans. He crapped on the Star Wars characters. There's no doubt about it. When you have Luke Skywalker at the end of Star Wars: The Force Awakens, getting a lightsaber handed to him, which is some huge buildup, and the audience has been anticipating this for 30 or 40 years. Luke coming back as some Master Jedi. Here's Daisy handing him the lightsaber, and then The Last Jedi starts off with Luke throwing it over his shoulder. That's just basically Rian Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy. The lightsaber is a symbol of the fans, and Luke just tossed them aside. That's exactly what it was, and that's what the whole Rian Johnson, The Last Jedi movie was. Everything about it. So let's take a look at The Last Jedi at Box Office Mojo. 1.3 million. 1.3 billion, excuse me. Force Awakens, 2 billion. Domestically, near 1 billion. Last Jedi, only 620 million. Again, The Force Awakens, 936 million. Domestically, 600 million for Last Jedi. Force Awakens international haul, 1.131 billion. The Last Jedi, 712 million. That's it. Wow. On top of that, what else is The Last Jedi responsible for? Boom. The toy sales tank. Big time. When was this reported? January 2018. So shortly after The Last Jedi came out in December, guess what? Nobody liked the movie, so nobody bought the toys. And if you think, what characters were they buy toys for? None. Everybody was every guy in the movie was basically a moron, right? Why would I want to go buy a toy of who? Luke doing nothing, sucking on some alien's nipple, throwing the lightsaber over his shoulder, being a hologram, then disappearing wherever he did at the end. Come on. Princess Leia flying through space. I think Star-Lord did that in Guardians of the Galaxy first. So what? Then The Last Jedi. Let's take a look. What happens after that? So fans are mad. The hardcore fans that Kennedy didn't want to please, right? They're all mad. Up Solo. Look at this. This absolutely tanks. This is embarrassing. Han Solo, arguably one of the most favorite of all time Star Wars characters, and it's an absolute disaster. Look at that. Now, to be honest, I did go see the Solo, and it wasn't too bad. I thought it wasn't too bad, as this box office return warrants. But fans, the way I look at it, the fans are like, Disney, you don't want to please me, I'm not going to come out and watch your movies then. That's the thinking. That's what's going to happen. Right? So we went from Star Wars making $2 billion to near half that, to less than a third of that, or around a third of that, with Solo. 2, no new movies coming out. So all you people, tweet at me, leave me comments saying, Matt, you just don't like Star Wars, don't go see the movie. Well, guess what? The numbers don't lie. No new movies coming out. That's huge. As I said before, put it in perspective. What if Marvel came out and said, we're not doing any movies for 3 years? We're doing TV shows. Yeah, Marvel TV does a great job. Imagine that. So just keep that in mind. And I've always said, this is the same, I used to get this kind of response from fans back when I didn't like what Marvel Comics did with Guardians of the Galaxy after they fired Abnett and Lanning when James Gunn's movie got greenlit. Because Bendis took over and Loeb ruined Nova, and the comics were awful. And I got a lot of flack from people working at Marvel and from the fans. Because I didn't support it. The way I look at it, say you go to your favorite restaurant and they're serving you your favorite meal each time you go there, and you're loving it, you're paying for it, you're giving a big tip, you're telling all your friends about it, right? And then you go into your favorite restaurant and they give you like a pile of crap on the table, and they expect you to eat because it's your favorite restaurant. And then when you go tell your friends and everybody about it that it was terrible, then there were people at the restaurant are like, well, it's your favorite restaurant, blah blah blah, you should like it. Well, that's not what you do, because things won't improve if you keep on chilling or keep on saying you like something when it's bad. And right now Star Wars is bad. Sorry to say. It's it shouldn't have been that way. It's a pretty sad thing that Star Wars right now is bad. I'm going on a little rant here, but it's true. Star Wars is not what it should have been. And you'll hear people argue. I think I saw this on Twitter a couple days ago. Well, the fans don't own Star Wars. Well, that's true. Well, actually, they could own Star Wars if they own stock at Disney, right? So that argument doesn't really hold, but that's not what I was going to counter with. Well, the fans are the ones who cough up bucks and go see the movie, so why wouldn't you want to please them, right? You're not just going to throw something out that's labeled Star Wars and expect everybody to like it just because it's Star Wars. Should they like it? No. That's ridiculous. That's the same thing, again, that Marvel Comics used to do, and they still do. Because they're, and DC, and any brand name, they have their loyal zombies who are probably actually employees online pretending to be fans. But but if you're trying to sell something, like if you're a Ford dealer or you're Ford and you come out with a new car that's a piece of crap, you shouldn't expect your loyal customers to buy it if it's going to be broke down in 2 years or if it's not any good. If anything, you'd want your customers to tell you the truth that this isn't what I want to buy. This isn't any good. So fix it. And that's what Star Wars fans are doing. They're coming out telling you they want to see your movies. They want to watch the movies. So fix it. Give them what they want to see. I don't understand what the problem is. Star Wars The Last Jedi was what no Star Wars fan wanted to see. I don't care who you are. There's nothing good about it. We'll see. Regarding Episode 9, there's a rumor that Luke Skywalker's involved in some epic scene with a Star Destroyer where he reaches out with one hand and takes it down. So does that mean he's a Force ghost? I actually hope what Mark Hamill said, and that's he hopes Luke Skywalker teleported at the end of The Last Jedi. He cracked a little joke about being naked, but it's true. And one thing that also doesn't really make sense is how would if Luke really disappeared and died, why would he take his metal hand with him? So maybe he's still alive. That's our best hope for that, guys. But as of right now, we'll come back to that in a second. No new Star Wars movies are being made. They're finishing Episode 9, and then that's the end of the chapter movies. So what are they going to do? Maybe they'll do the spin-offs or do a soft reboot after 3 years when maybe Kennedy's gone and someone wants to take it over. Because according to Grace Randolph, she, a month or two or whatever back, she said that Eager wanted to fire Kathleen Kennedy. But at the same time, there were two different groups at Lucasfilm, people loyal to her and people, not loyal to her, maybe more loyal to Star Wars. But following this week it being confirmed that Kathleen Kennedy is coming back to Star Wars, people obviously went on Twitter and started tweeting at Grace Randolph, blah, you're wrong, blah, blah, blah. But she brought up a good point, which is again a rumor. We don't know if it's true, but no one else wanted the job. Star Wars is in shambles, and nobody wanted the job. She said Abrams didn't want the job. Who's going to want the job after, who's going to come on a Star Wars when it's a mess right now? It's comparable to what happened with James Gunn in that he did such a good job for those who like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies that no director wants to come on board and following him because he did such a good job. You know how hard that would be to do? And it's the same. The opposite is true right here. Star Wars in such shambles. What director wants to come on and be involved with this and try to clean up this mess? I don't know. Let's see. Grace Randolph. She had a poll. What did she ask here? How do people feel about Kathleen Kennedy getting re-upped? Maybe she'll work with us. Yeah. That's a pretty optimistic approach. That's 32%. Some people are happy. Go Kathy. It's 22%. So that's what? So 54%. So it's about half and half. People are out and people are maybe on board with what the new Star Wars stuff, which isn't a good thing to split the audience. Ask Zack Snyder. That's what the Star Wars stuff kind of reminds me of. What Zack Snyder did with the DCEU by trying to put his own mark on things. And, I'm going on a little tirade here, but Man of Steel was a great movie, but there was just really two instances which killed it. It was the Pa Kent scene, Superman letting Pa Kent die, never should have happened, and Superman killing Zod at the end. I didn't mind all the violence and destruction because Superman was outnumbered, so how could he realistically take the fight out to a cornfield if he's fighting, like 10 Kryptonians who are more powerful than him and maybe better fighters because they're soldiers, and he was just some farm boy. So I didn't mind that. But then if I go into Batman versus Superman, that was a disaster with basically everything that Zack Snyder did with Superman was the reason he's no longer around. But, and Kathleen Kennedy, basically what happened is the reason how she worked the original characters and storyline. And I guess even with The Last Jedi, all the Abrams characters too. So I guess I'll leave you with that. It's my little rant's over, but I just wanted to get that out there. I think Star Wars at Disney's in big trouble. We'll see what Abrams can do with Episode 9. Now, does that mean I'm not going to go see the movie? No, I'll definitely go see Episode 9. I mean, obviously, it's the last Star Wars movie to date. Everybody's probably going to want to go see it now. Some good PR by Disney, right? All right, take it easy, guys. Let me know your thoughts below. Thanks.